It's as if someone wants to erase.
Which is why we are celebrating 25 years.
Tyler Perry used to be the golden ticket when Harry and Meghan blew up the royal playbook and fled the UK in a whirlwind of scandal, drama-filled headlines, and full-blown security nightmares. It wasn't Buckingham Palace that swooped in to catch them. It wasn't Charles, not William, not even a well-meaning friend from Frogmore. No, it was Tyler Perry, Hollywood's billionaire fairy godfather, the man with a private jet, a fortress of a mansion, and security so tight it could rival the Secret Service. He swooped in like a real-life guardian angel, offering the kind of protection, privacy, and luxury that even the Crown could never provide, and doing it with the flair only a Hollywood mogul could command. His connections, experience, and instincts from decades in showbiz made him untouchable, and he deployed it all for the Sussexes, giving them the chance to start over safely in a world where everyone else had turned their backs. His Beverly Hills estate wasn't just a safe house, it became the Sussexes' sanctuary, a fortress far away from flashbulbs, royal aides, and relentless tabloids. It was the perfect refuge where Harry, Meghan, and baby Archie could breathe, regroup, and begin their post-royal rebrand in complete privacy and comfort. Tyler didn't just lend them a place to hide, he lent them his name, his reputation, and unwavering loyalty. Meghan was so grateful she gave him the godfather title for their daughter Lilibet. In royal terms, that's practically sacred. That wasn't just a thank you, it was eternal. Every mention reinforced a bond that carried real weight and meaning, far beyond Hollywood glitz or social media praise. The cameras captured it all. Netflix rolled out soft focus footage of the Sussexes, gushing about how much Tyler meant to them. Heartfelt confessions, teary-eyed interviews. Meghan called him her protector, her rock, her chosen family. Emotional, polished, tailor-made for their post-royal independence image. For months it worked beautifully, until everything suddenly fell apart. Out of nowhere, Tyler Perry was slapped with a $260 million civil lawsuit by actor Derek Dixon. Allegations of a toxic, intimidating, career-crushing workplace turned the generous Hollywood fairy godfather into an immediate headline. Risk. Court filings, emails, production notes, insider reports. They began to pile up fast. In less than 48 hours, Tyler went from beloved creative genius to embattled executive. And Meghan, she vanished him within hours of the news. Perry's name was scrubbed from Meghan's entire digital footprint. Photos of him at Lily's christening? Gone. Old posts gushing about Uncle Tyler? Archived or deleted. Mentions as godfather in interviews and bios quietly removed. Even Lily's pages saw subtle revisions, swapping is for was. No public thanks, no defense, no nuance. Just erase him from the internet as if he had never existed. The public noticed fast. Screenshots exploded across Reddit, Twitter, and TikTok. "Where's Uncle Tyler?" started trending. Royal watchers, gossip blogs, and fans were comparing timestamps, receipts, even cash logs like a full-on forensic investigation. The man who gave them a home when the firm turned their backs was now treated like a liability. The betrayal wasn't subtle. It was blatant, cold, and shocking to anyone who had seen how much he gave. Even people who admired Meghan's boldness were stunned at the speed and cruelty of the digital erasure. But Meghan's team made one critical mistake. They forgot Tyler had receipts. Every photo, every text, every tear-soaked conversation from those post-palace nights was logged, organized, and legally protected. Sitting at the center of it all, a confidentiality clause tucked neatly inside a guest residency agreement. Perry isn't just smart on screen. He's a billionaire with legal teams sharper than stilettos. And that clause, it's about to blow this entire situation wide open. Sources close to Perry's legal advisors reveal the agreement had one peculiar sentence most guests would overlook. In the event of public disavowal by either party, the non-breaching side may, in accordance with applicable law, disclose context necessary to protect reputation. Translation:
Meghan Markle is in crisis.
If Meghan publicly cut ties, wiped his godfather status, and scrubbed him from her brand, Tyler could legally speak freely. Not cryptic hints, not vague tweets, but full sit-down interviews, legal affidavits, media appearances, and even a Netflix follow-up of his own if he wanted. Suddenly, Tyler holds the power to reveal behind-the-scenes moments that could shake the entire narrative.
On one of the filmmaker's shows.
Moments the public never knew existed. With receipts in hand, imagine the conversations. Meghan pacing in the garden, ranting about royal aides. Harry whispering about family betrayal in hallways. Private phone calls, draft scripts, early Netflix outlines. Tyler Perry wasn't just a visiting friend. He was there shaping plans, guiding them, holding them through it all. And now he's being erased like a faded Instagram filter. Furious doesn't even cover it. Not just used, but coldly dismissed and publicly erased without warning. This wasn't just business. It was deeply personal. One day, godfather to the Sussex child. The next, scrubbed like a PR risk. That's not just betrayal. That's personal. Sources say Perry is weighing his options, and fast. Producers are already circling like sharks. One insider even joked, "This could out Oprah. Oprah, big networks, streaming platforms, blank checks, empty studio slots. They all want Tyler Perry's story first, not just gossip. This is a royal bombshell in motion. Imagine Perry on air. Meghan's late-night anxiety spirals, Harry second-guessing every move, early Netflix arguments about what to cut or keep, Perry revealing deal-making, crisis plans, staged moments, private conversations and behind-the-scenes chaos. Loyalty, out the window. This is full-on reputation warfare. Meghan's team knows it, which is why they're panicking, flooding her channels with soft focus photos, wellness tips, garden shots, lifestyle posts, and carefully curated positivity to try to drown the narrative before it explodes. But the public isn't buying it. Every comment section on every curated post echoes the same question: where's Tyler? Even brand partners are getting nervous. A major skincare label quietly paused an upcoming campaign. A high-end wine collaboration went dark. Marketing teams are reviewing contracts to see what happens if Meghan's image suffers another hit or if Tyler goes public with his side. And Perry, silent. Strategic silence. The kind that comes before a storm, the kind that makes the other side squirm, panic, and overcorrect. And that's exactly what's happening behind closed doors, because Meghan's erasure of Tyler may have triggered that infamous NDA clause. Now, Perry holds the key. He can protect his name, defend his choices, and if necessary, tell the whole story. And Harry, he's caught in the middle again, torn between the woman he walked away from a kingdom for and the man who gave him shelter when the world turned its back. For Harry, Perry isn't just a footnote. He's part of the escape story. The raw, scary, uncertain moment when everything was fragile. And now, watching that man be erased, it's eating at him. According to close friends, Harry is spiraling, sleepless, restless, snapping at staff. He's reportedly flown back to the UK in secret, seeking advice from what little remains of his support system, not to plot a return, but to breathe, to get distance, because Meghan's PR strategy, once sleek and savvy, is now backfiring spectacularly back in California. Meghan is scrambling. Her team has reportedly gone into crisis PR mode, emergency meetings, legal consultations, rapid-fire coordination between stylists, influencers, and even brand loyalists, being nudged to post about her. But here's the problem. No amount of curated garden pics, feminist quotes, or motherhood wisdom posts can silence what's coming, because Tyler Perry isn't just some ex-friend with a grudge. He's Tyler Perry. A self-made mogul, a media powerhouse, and this is crucial, someone who still has control over their early narrative. Perry kept meticulous audio logs, behind-the-scenes notes, recordings from planning sessions, phone calls, even casual conversations captured on devices, all catalogued and time-stamped with the precision of a legal deposition. Every detail mattered to him, and for good reason. He knew the world would eventually want an unfiltered look behind the Hollywood royal curtain, and he intended to control when and how that story was told. Even the moments after their Oprah interview, when the global audience buzzed about what landed and what didn't, he wasn't attempting to gather dirt. He was documenting a Hollywood story in the making, a narrative unfolding in real time, but now those very receipts, once harmless, could easily become Exhibit A in a court of public opinion. And then it happened, the leak. Not a tabloid report, not a podcast whisper, not a rumour strategically planted in the right circle. No, this was deliberate, surgical, and unmistakable. A small 58-second clip appeared online. Originally uploaded by a burner account, it was quickly reposted, shared and translated worldwide, reaching audiences in the UK, US, Canada, Australia, and even parts of Europe within hours. Meghan's voice is clearly heard, speaking with a calculated blend of charm and strategy, discussing press tactics, name-dropping, selective sympathy, and pondering whether repeatedly invoking the Diana card might come across as overly calculated in the eyes of the public. The sound of Harry's voice, grumbling in the background, assumed to be him, referencing Netflix's sensitivity to emotional content and too much crying, added layers of unintended context that sent the internet into immediate overdrive. Within minutes, hashtags exploded. Selective sympathy began trending on X, Twitter feeds, and even TikTok, while headlines across major UK and US outlets lit up with phrases like "secret Sussex tapes leaked." Royal commentators, analysts, and gossip channels scrambled to contextualise the clip, some defending the Sussexes, others condemning them. Meanwhile, pro-Sussex social media pages went dead silent, caught off guard by the virality and implications of the leak. Anti-Sussex voices, however, had a field day. The clip was called a smoking gun, evidence of manipulated victimhood, a carefully curated attempt to craft public sympathy while shaping the narrative for personal gain. And the worst part? The clip was allegedly just the beginning. Sources claim it's part of a much larger archive. Tyler Perry reportedly has over 17 hours of footage, including phone memos, video logs, and annotated transcripts. Every key planning session, private conversation, and early draft of interviews, everything that happened behind the palace gates and in Montecito, was meticulously catalogued. Some tapes reportedly delve into off-the-record criticisms of certain royal family members that never made it on air, discussions of the Netflix documentary drafts, and post-interview debriefs. In other words, the material is both exhaustive and explosive. The tapes aren't just damaging, they're potentially image-shattering. Meghan Markle, who once commanded global admiration for her poise and advocacy, is reportedly in crisis. Her carefully built empire, previously thought untouchable, is wobbling. Brand deals have been paused indefinitely. A planned podcast relaunch has quietly been shelved, and a rumoured skincare line with a major beauty conglomerate is being re-evaluated in light of leaked internal emails. Meghan, who once orchestrated the media narrative like a masterful symphony conductor, now watches her carefully tuned orchestra descend into chaos. Harry, too, saw the storm coming the moment that clip hit the internet. Insiders report he booked a private flight to London, not just for space, but for survival, for strategic distance. For the first time in months, he returned to the UK alone, reportedly staying at a discreet countryside estate owned by a royal ally. No Meghan, no cameras, just Harry and a few trusted confidants, desperately trying to navigate the fallout and find a way out of the mess before it snowballed further. Each day, his movements were carefully measured, balancing the need for discretion with the awareness that once Perry released more footage, nothing would remain private. The situation is starting to feel like quicksand. Rumours of back-channel communications with Charles's private office circulate, and whispers of Harry potentially returning to royal duties, even part-time, are emerging. Nothing is formal or concrete, but the fact that it's even being mentioned tells the full story. Harry knows once Perry opens the vault, the Sussexes' carefully constructed version of events dies almost instantly. Every calculated narrative, every public statement, every image meticulously curated over the past years risks being reinterpreted through the lens of Perry's recordings. The palace, naturally, is paying attention. Within royal circles, the leak has been met with a chilling combination of satisfaction and vindication. Certain aides, once accused of leaking stories themselves, now smirk quietly from corners of Clarence House. William's team maintains silence, but sources say their silence is strategic, a quiet confidence that comes from knowing this public unravelling was largely preventable, and the ripple effects could influence multiple spheres of influence in the UK and abroad. There's no need to dance on the grave of the Sussexes' reputation. The public is doing it for them. And while Meghan's brand machine desperately tries to pivot, flooding social media with vague statements, edited material, nostalgic garden shots, wellness posts, and lifestyle snippets, none of it is sticking. Why? Because the clip sounded real. Too real. It wasn't manufactured. It wasn't a smear. It was two people coordinating behind the curtain on how they wanted to be perceived, revealing strategy, intention, and the undeniable human flaws behind a polished public image. That is not victimhood. It is production. Tyler Perry, meanwhile, still hasn't said a word publicly. Not officially, not in interviews, not in posts. Yet the fingerprints of his team are evident everywhere. The timing of the release, the surgical precision of the clip, and the fact that it was just long enough to cause uproar, but short enough to avoid legal action, demonstrate strategy. This wasn't sloppy revenge. It was message sending. You erase me. I remind you, I exist. That is exactly the part Meghan didn't anticipate. Perry isn't someone you can sideline. He built an empire betting on himself and winning. Betray him, silence him, or use him, and the consequences could be monumental. He doesn't burn bridges. He builds stages and fills auditoriums. He monetizes, he strategizes, he controls the narrative. What comes next? More clips, almost certainly. Legal maneuvers, possibly an exclusive sit-down with high-profile journalists like Gayle King or Anderson Cooper. A domino effect of consequences follows. Publishers retracting deals, former allies stepping forward, skeletons rattling out of Montecito closets, past missteps re-examined. This isn't just a scandal, it's a reckoning, the Sussex fairy tale, the image of the independent power couple escaping oppression, carving their own path, telling their truth, only works if the narrative remains authentic. Perry, however, may dismantle that illusion entirely. Harry's return to the UK isn't just symbolic, it's strategic retreat and damage control. He's attempting to salvage what remains of his reputation before further clips emerge. Perry didn't just open a door, he cracked the foundation of the narrative they built. From Oprah to Netflix to Spotify, nothing is safe. The billion-dollar empire of Meghan and Harry is under scrutiny, and the world is watching every move, every statement, every attempt at narrative control. A prince who traded his palace for peace now stares down the barrel of another war. A duchess, once untouchable, now publicly unravels. It's not just a bad week. It's an inflection point, and the eyes of the world are glued to every unfolding moment. And while we watch, remember to like, subscribe, share, and comment below. The story is far from over, and your voice in the discussion matters because this saga is about power, loyalty, betrayal, and the truth behind the royal facade.